listening to Pause. We pause for a second or two. This is episode 143, Heavy Bombs on Capitol. Yesterday, in the Middle East, 10 heavy bombs were dropped on a capital city. The footage of this bombing was very strong. The videos first showed the tall and wide clouds of smoke, this gray smoke. And then images and videos also came of how the ground looked after the bombs had gone off. And in these photos, in these videos, it looked like the ground was torn open and that fires and almost like hellish lava was coming from below. The imagery was biblical looking. It looked like the ground opened up and hell was coming up. So what happened was that these very heavy bombs, apparently they weighed about 10 tons each, very heavy bombs. They penetrate deep into the ground and then go off deep underground. And that is why in the aftermath it looks like holes in the ground with this fire and this hellish visual from below. Today's episode is called Heavy Bombs on Capitol. And today's episode is when we pause for a second or two and recognize what happened. Bombing with such drastic effects has not been it has not occurred in recent times. The event as such seems novel to us. And in the situation right now, in the Middle East and in the world, no one can dismiss that this action felt significant, that these heavy bombs felt significant. And today, the day after, there is a different feeling in the air. There's just a different feeling in the air. And that is why we are pausing. We are pausing so that we may, at least a bit, bridge yesterday with today. Emotionally bridge yesterday with today. The Polaroid for today's episode, the emotional skill for today's episode, is universal skill motion. With these heavy bombs and on a capital city, not just heavy bombs, but heavy bombs on a densely populated capital city, a country's main city. With these heavy bombs, there was immense motion. And today, all of us can feel the immensity of the motion from these heavy bombs. Today, our bodies contain this new sense of motion in them. There is this stress, this restlessness in our bodies today. It is in mine, and probably it is in yours as well. And we pause for a second or two and recognize this restlessness. We recognize this motion. In a sense, we can sense the weight from these heavy bombs. A small portion of it we can feel today. So in the upcoming days to come, perhaps weeks, we will notice that there will be more stress in people's bodies all over the world, or at least all over the world who has seen and heard of this event. There will be more restlessness in our bodies. And with this restlessness, we will not be able to pause as easily. we will feel instead the need to distract ourselves or act on different impulses, different ideas. Maybe we will make a significant decision, or at least feel the impulse to do so. Universal skill, motion. We always have motion in our bodies. We always have this potential, this energy who wants something, who strives towards something. And at some points, this motion is somewhat lesser, and at other points, this motion in our bodies is increased. And today, this motion is increased. The heavy bombs devastating a capital city lives on today in the form of stress in our bodies. And in furtherance, not only the impact and imagery of the bombs in themselves, but there is also symbolic motion or potential motion today after this event. These heavy bombs were dropped on a capital city, and an event such as that has not occurred in modern time. So now we have this thought in our minds that other capital cities might see the same. There is fear of retaliation. There is fear of this event only being the first of its kind. This is the fear that is today, that was not yesterday. Something that happened once, we fear can happen again. This is how it works. Before yesterday, our bodies did not expect something like that. But today they do. Today our bodies is on edge in a way they weren't yesterday. The Second World War ended or was concluded with the two atom bombs being dropped on Japanese cities. And with that event, it set a tone for our generation, the post-World War II generation. It set a tone and became the starting point of our time. And a lot about how we interact as people, how we interact internationally, how we interact diplomatically, how we talk with one another, how we do business, everything is against that event. The 2 bombs. And yesterday's event, the heavy bombs being dropped on a capital, reminds us of that. It makes us feel that we are getting closer to something like full circle, getting closer to that moment. That moment when the world changed. It reminds us that the world might change again. So the bombs from yesterday have both real consequences and symbolic consequences. And both the real and the symbolic creates motion, emotional motion. And it's a lot to digest. It's a lot to sort out. It's a lot to come to terms with. Perhaps it's not possible to come to terms with it. The motion is there. The motion is in our bodies and it wants to go somewhere. The motion is in our bodies and it wants to go somewhere. So we pause for a second or two. And we recognize that we have this motion in our bodies right now. And in the upcoming days, we simply notice this motion and notice where it wants to go. And then, when we feel some inclination or impulse, we pause again for a second or two and say, hey, there's that motion from the bombs. It wants to go somewhere. And then we make a new decision on what to do. This is what we do. That's it for today. Thank you.